Yeah, so I've got a copy of the book right here,
Oh,
Innovation, Agility Across the Enterprise. One of the stories that you talk about and that Ali told me about back a few months ago is when you started at Dyson Group. So to set the stage, Dyson Group is a public transportation company. You have a fleet of buses in Australia. You came in to the organization as CIO and you gave yourself, I'll say, a pretty big mandate where you said, we have this backlog of projects that traditionally would take 6 to 12 months. I'm going to get them done in 2 weeks. And if I remember the story, the boardroom said, "Are you kidding me?" And you said, "Just give me 2 weeks." So that's how we're going to set the stage. I want to hear about what you saw when you came into the organization, what
yeah.
the challenges they were facing, and the opportunity you saw. And then I'll let Ali talk about how he was able to support you to do that.
Yeah, and I suppose from a timing perspective, um, yeah, Dyson and from a background, so Dyson's is about 600 buses. It's a 73-year-old company. It's a family business. We're the largest still family-owned bus company in our state, because all of the big multinationals have come in. And yeah, and I suppose from a timing perspective, they had been spending 4 to 5 years on a project which hadn't been done quite well. I said to them, don't change the budget, just let me spend it however I need. Whatever I find as savings, I'll repurpose. And that's really where the story starts and what sort of happened since then.
All right. So thank you for that context. So to add another layer to it, from a technology perspective, if I understand, you guys are running JD Edwards as your ERP. You
Yep,
had Oracle integration, I think, to run your middleware, and you had other proprietary applications that were all running in silos. So
that's right. Yeah,
when you came in, what were the big problems you saw? And I could categorize them in three buckets, if you will. So one is keeping the organization running, making sure the infrastructure is up to date and functional. Two is in terms of safety and compliance and any regulation in your industry. And then three is anything relating to the workforce. And to the workforce, one of the things I read in the book is when you first started, you went out and rode the buses and
yeah,
sat right next to drivers to hear what they're dealing with. So
yeah.
I'd
That's
love
right.
to hear that and start with that.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah, so I think that that background around doing the whole people process technology when you first come in, this having been my fourth transformation as a CIO, I had a lot of processes that I'd trialed with other people and got it pretty good the last couple that I've done. And that looking at the people first and not only the IT people, actually looking at the operations people and then riding the buses with them, walking the workshop with the high vis on, making sure that I'm actually shadowing what they're doing, sort of thing. So that was important to know who my customers were and who my customer base, knowing my infrastructure. And my goal is never to just come in and get rid of people or get rid of technology. It's trying to work out what do we actually have to play with, and then what can I leverage and utilize. And if there is a gap, try and plug it with just one solution, which is where obviously Ali comes in.
All right. So yeah, tell me a little bit more about that. You mentioned Ali, and he's obviously um, a proponent of no code in the enterprise. And I
Yeah.
wanted to hear about how you were able to implement a 2 week sprint using no code to solve some of these problems. So I'd love to hear specifically what was one of the big wins you had when you first came. So you came to the organization, you
Yeah.
you listened to the end users, you got a lay of the land in terms of people, processes, and technology. What was Tell me a story of a quick win you guys were able to get using no code.